I'm here on Technique Tuesday and I've been working on my candy bear. I am back in town. I love being home, although I do miss my daughter and her little baby Claire. And so we had a great time visiting her. And now we're back home. So as we're going along, don't forget to post comments in the comment section. Let us know what you're working on. Maybe you can give us the name of the patterns because we always like looking at new projects. It gives me ideas for future Technique Tuesdays. And don't forget to let us know where you're from while you're doing that. Also, every week we have a little prize that we give out, and this last week we had a choice of Chow Goo 32-inch needles and or the Knitter's Pride Dreams, and the Dreams won, so that's fantastic. Now you guys know that the products that we bring into Alpaca Direct, I try every single one of them, so I like them both. But it was very interesting to see what you guys liked. So it was very close. There were a lot of people both ways, right, Jim? Yeah. Just slightly more people said they liked the Dreams. And it might be, for some people, the wood feels warmer in your hands. So that could be a reason why you like that. So that's totally fantastic. And so for the prize for this week is Kabasi. It's a DK. We just brought some of this in for you guys, and it is 55% cotton, 16% bamboo, 21% elastic, and 8% silk. And this is by Skacel, and it's by Haiku, and it is a fantastic yarn. And I thought maybe you guys could show, have the bubblegum colorway or bluebell. Those are our choices for this week, so you got to help me. I was thinking it would be really cute for, you know, all those babies out there that are being born. This would make really cute little baby hats and baby booties. So 2 skeins would get you plenty for a baby hat and booties. One was bluebell, which is the blue color, and the other one was bubblegum, the pink colorway.
So bluebell or bubblegum?
Yeah, it's totally fantastic. So anyway, so this week I have been working on my candy bear, and you guys know that when we're working on toys, if you haven't knit toys before, toys are fantastic because you learn a ton of skills. Now, I haven't put my face on my little guy yet, and his neck is a little tiny bit wobbly because when I picked up stitches, I kind of picked them up, well, in too small of an area. It would have been nicer if I picked up a wider amount that, you know, made the pickup a little wider so that it wasn't so wobbly, so I don't have to go back and seam it later. But the neat thing about it is if you look really close, I haven't seamed anything on this. I just did the pickup, and it looks really good. You don't have to go back and fix anything. So the candy bear head, what she does is she takes all these pieces and everything is seamed. So the ears are, if you follow the pattern, it's 4 pieces for the ears, and each ear has 2 pieces that are seamed together, and then the 2 pieces are seamed to the head, and so on and so forth. And it takes a lot of time to do that. So I thought, well, maybe I can show you guys how you can do it easier. So on the back on here, I started from the back, and I cast on 5 stitches, I believe it was, and then I joined in the round. And by joining in the round, there's absolutely, it closes it right up. You can't see anything. And it looks great on the back of the head. So that's how I started that. And then, of course, last week, we talked about the ears, where I used Judy's Magic Cast On and cast on stitches right at the very top of the ear, and then increased every round until I got to the stitch count that was listed in the pattern. And so you had a very nice looking ear that didn't require any seaming to put the 2 pieces together. So, and then I used whip stitch to close it all up. And can you see that? I used whip stitch right here to just seam it together. And it was really easy to do. So, and then other things that we wanted to talk about for our bear, on the bottom of the feet, she has you knit this whole thing flat and then seam it together. And instead of doing that, I used Judy's Magic Cast On and cast on the stitches, and then flipped it over and used the purl bumps to make some garter stitch bottom for the bottom of the foot. And then the pink part here, I just dropped one color and then picked up another color and began knitting. And so that's how that was. And then on the legs, I Kitchenered the legs to the body, and I'm going to be showing you how to do that today so that you have nice looking joints. Oh, also, speaking of the back side, I pretended like I was doing a sock and did German short rows, 4 German short rows on each side, and that's what gave me the back side so it'll sit. Do you see how nicely it sits? Well, the head's kind of funky yet, but it will be better. And you can just, the little guy, if the head was on correctly, will just sit up on its own. So that gives it a nice little bottom. I like to use this on every one of my toys. I like to use the sock method, the heel of a short row sock or part of the short row to make a bottom where the teddy bear will stand up. And then as you can see, I have a ton of yarn here left over that I'm going to be using for clothes. And one of the yarns that I have here, you know how I always test the yarns before I bring them in, was this Pima 100 by Baracco Yarn Company. And it is 100% Pima cotton yarn, and this is made in Peru. And it doesn't have a shiny look to it, and it feels very, very soft so far. And so it is either right between a DK weight and a light worsted weight. So we'll see how it knits up, but it looks really nice. I'm excited to be able to use that for a little bit of clothing for my candy bear. And this was her sample, and this is by Susan Hickson, and it's called Mary Jane's Tea Room. And she used beautiful colors on her project. And mine, of course, is knit out of all odds and ends. So I'm using scraps and yarns that I'm testing. So I kind of have to use what colors I have available. But I have some pretty nice yarn. So I think it's turning out really nice. You guys, don't forget to vote for what colorway you want us to give to the person next week. And this is for Kapasi DK. And it's a lovely yarn by Haiku or Skacel. And yes, Jim?
Remember how you were saying this morning how you can learn so many skills?
Why
don't you go around and just show them like all the different, you think of some.
Right, so this was the joining and the round using the magic loop method to start at the back of the head. And this right here is Judy's magic cast on to do the ears. And the whip stitch is another skill that you learn. And picking up stitches on the neck is another skill that you learn. And right here I did raglan increases for the sweater part. So if you have never done a sweater before, this is exactly what you do when you make a sweater. And so that is another skill. And then right here I made little tiny thumbs, and that would be a thumb gusset on either a mitten or a glove. So you can see that by doing these little tiny projects, you get to practice so many skills. So if you really want to jumpstart your skills and your finishing techniques, this is a great way, a great method to learn all of those things on a small project and get lots of practice on it. So it's totally awesome. Oh, also, I wanted to tell you guys that this week we are going to be sending out our Knit Club kit. And so it'll be going out in the mail soon. So don't forget about that. And what our Knit Club is, for those of you who have not joined yet, every month we get to learn new skills. And then I go through video tutorials for each section to help you learn how to do the new skills, and just in case you get stuck. And we can also have the VIP group where you guys post your questions or comments, and then we can get back to you and answer those questions and comments. And we also have fabulous knitters in that group, right, Jim, that are so completely talented, and they can help you too.
And we went over 2,000 last week.
Yay! That's awesome. 2,000 club members for the VIP group. Yep. Good. Awesome. That's great. Okay, so now I wanted to show you a couple things. So for this part of the head, to pick up the stitches for the body so you don't have to seam everything, I wanted to show you an easy way that we could possibly pick up stitches and that you would understand how to do it. So I've gotten some different kind of yarn, and I kind of made this little ball for you, right? And say this is the bottom of my neck, and I'm going to be picking up stitches. So let's take a look here. So I have just taken darning needles, And don't mind this because I was already picking up stitches right here. And what I'm doing is I'm identifying the right hand leg of the stitch all the way across. And then a good way to do this so that you don't have to remove the darning needle is identify the stitch or so below it. And then what I'm saying is if you put it down here or below the part where you're actually going to be able to be picking up stitches. This right here was an increase, so I can't really grab that stitch. But if you pick up the right hand legs, and if you look at the stitch, it actually just looks like a horseshoe. And I have identified the right hand legs. But what I want you to do when you're picking up your stitches is just stab your needle right into the center of that stitch. And then you would grab your working yarn.
What is it you're showing here?
I'm showing them how to pick up stitches just in case they want to knit their body and not have to seam the head to the body, have it done all in one piece. So let me pick up a few stitches and I'll show you. So I'm going to pick up the stitch just above the one that I have identified here. So I'm just going to stab my needle right into the center, and I'm going to grab my working yarn. Always leave a nice little tail when you're doing these toys, just in case you have to gussy up something, it doesn't look quite right and you want to make it look better. Having a nice long tail to seam with is really nice. It'll keep you from having to grab extra yarn later. So if you look at my project, I'm going along and picking up, stabbing right into the center of the stitch I have identified. And I'm going to go all the way to the edge here. And I am going to show you what it looks like. Okay, so here's the ones on the bottom of the row. Now I'll show you how to do the edge. Now I may have to put my darning needle back in there because it's kind of falling out. And that one right there, that's pretty good. Doink. And you want to try and grab the whole thing. 1 second here. And being patient and just kind of taking your time. But you see how I have this picked up. And then when you knit a few rows, it's going to be a seamless join. If I do this in the same color that I have in the back here, do you see how these stitches just exactly match? So you want them to look really nice when you're done. So you can take that one out then. And then if I was going to pick up stitches along here, I would just leave my cord in that position. This is when those crazy long cords are kind of handy. So you can either pick up every stitch here on this edge, or you can pick up every other stitch. It depends on how many stitches you have to pick up. But if I was going to do this, I'm just going to take my working yarn and go right into there. There you go. And what I'm doing on this edge is I'm making sure that I am keeping these knit stitches intact on both sides, and I'm stabbing my needle into the center of the next one above it. So when you're picking up your stitches and you're picking up one stitch per row, you would have this edge right here will be maintained and it will look good. That line will stay nice looking. Also, another trick, I don't know if you guys do this or not, you can let me know if you do this, but another trick I've tried before is I use a smaller needle for the pickup than I would actually knit with, because what it does is tightens up that join so it looks even better. So that is another trick that you can do. And then I would pull my cord out again and just let it hang there. And then here I am on this one right here. Remember, I want my darning needle right below where I'm going to pick up. So if I wanted to actually pick up along here, I could take my darning needle and grab those right hand legs of the stitch right below it. And that way, all it does is gives me a line that I'm following. So I make sure that when I'm doing my pickup that I'm picking up straight across and not jogging down and going back up. So every time you get your pickup and it's on a different row or something like that, it's going to be noticeable. And you see how I'm turning my head to follow so that I have the circular stitch, which looks like a horseshoe, facing so that the top of the horseshoe is on the other side of me. I wouldn't be trying to pick up stitches if my horseshoe was down here. I wouldn't pick up those stitches. I'm only picking up the ones where I can grab the loop on top, because I'll show you how nice it looks when you do that. So we have that one, right? And then let's poke into here and grab that one. And I'm just going right along. And that one. You see how I'm kind of doing it close to my darning needle right now. So it's a little bit harder for me to do it that way. It's easier if you just pick up the stitches that are a little further away from your darning needle. It just makes it easier. So, and that last one was trying to, oops, the yarn was trying to split. Now let's take a look at this and see what we got. And do you see how the pickup is going to come straight out of those stitches? Do you see right here when I pull it, your new stitches are going to come straight out of those horseshoes, which is going to make a really nice pickup. Now let's go along one more side here and see if we can see what it looks like. So I'm turning my work again. Do you see that? And this time my darning needle is not in place, but what we want to do is this line right here, we want to maintain this line right here. So what I would do is pick up right next to that. And try not to split the yarn. It always looks a little funny if you split the yarn. We do not want to split yarn. So I have that one, and then I'll go here, and then go here. And it would just, you have to, so I picked up 4 stitches on the other side, so I'll pick up 4 stitches on this side.
There was a question of how do you make the head not wobbly?
Well, if you make this hole in here bigger and you pick up more stitches, your head will not be wobbly. When I did mine were too close together and it's kind of wobbly. Now I'm going to have to go back and tack it down just a little bit, which was what I was trying to alleviate in the first place. So when you're doing your pickup, make it as wide as you can. On this candy bear, if you look at where the head is, I marked that. You could, when I did my head, one second, I'm looking for that, not the head, but the torso. One second, I'm looking for that. It's back here. One second, legs, socks, body. Aha. So on mine, I picked up 30 stitches, but if I would have actually picked up 43 stitches and made this hole in here bigger by being able to pick up more stitches, it wouldn't be wobbly. You could even pick up 49 stitches and just do all these rows in stockinette stitches. So you could pick up 49 stitches and then knit 9 rows and then knit the 5 more rows and then continue on with your pattern. And it would look totally fine. But that's how you keep it from being less wobbly, is to keep this so it's bigger. The bigger you can get it, the less wobbly your project's actually going to be. And don't forget, you can pick it up with smaller needles, and that will help too. So now let's take a look at this puppy dog.
What are you showing here?
So on here, Kelley Kitchenered these legs and the trunk to the whole torso. I did the Kitchener stitch. So first of all, this would be my torso, right? So I have my whole body up here and I'm down here at the torso, and I want to join these little legs. Do you see how I have a leg here and a leg here on either side of it? So first of all, I removed the stitches that I'm not going to be working with because that'll just confuse you, other than this one sitting right here. That's not going to confuse me because it's not connected to anything. It's good. And remember, when you're going to join your torso to your leg, you have to make sure that you have it oriented so the front of the leg is Kitchenered with the front of your torso, and then the back of the leg is connected with the back of the torso. And then let's look and see. I have my 3 times the width of the project that I'm going to be Kitchenering at least, and this is plenty of yarn for that. Whoops. Oh no. And my darning needle. Let's use this one. These are too small for the. I was using those darning needles on worsted weight yarn and they work lovely, but these bigger ones work for the chunky weight yarn much better. All right, so then I have this front is going to go with this front, right? And what I need to do is move my working yarn so that it's in the position. Now remember, is there a pen? Can you hand me the pencil, Jim? Remember, when you're doing Kitchener stitch, my favorite thing to do ever when I'm doing Kitchener is go knit off, purl, and then purl off, knit. Okay? And then there's a setup, 2 steps for the setup, which the opposite of a knit is a purl, so, and the opposite of a purl is a knit. So that is the setup. And we always start with this back needle for the setup. Okay? So I have my darning needle on there. And the first thing I'm going to do is in the back stitch. It doesn't matter if my working yarn is on the back stitch. It doesn't matter. It's fine. Just go in as if to knit on the back, and then and then you're going to go in as if to purl. And you don't take anything off the needles for the setup, okay? Because each stitch gets worked twice. Then we're going to go a knit off, purl, and then purl off, knit. And then knit off, purl. You want it to be tight. And then a purl off, knit. And then we go a knit off, purl, and a purl off, knit. Now, these 2 stitches are going to be connected to the back. And of course, okay, so I have my needles are all messed up, so I can't finish the back of it, because if you look here, this is the torso part. I have my cords are all tangled in with each other. Let me see if I can get this one to go around the back. 1 second here. I'm looking for a way to get, nope. This, do you have a scissors? No. Okay, so then all you would do is turn your work. I'm doing the front. Do you see how this is perfectly Kitchenered together? You just turn your work and do the back of the actual leg. So I would work across the front of the leg, and then I turn it to the back, and then work across the back of the leg. Then I would Kitchener right here, these 4 stitches in the center by themselves, as if they were a whole new Kitchener project. I wouldn't try to do anything about joining them or anything. You just go, you do the setup row, which is go in as if to, on the back needle, go in as if to knit, and then go in as if to purl. Don't take them off the needle, and then continue on with the pattern with the 4 stitches. Then you drop that, And these two pieces will now be seamed together. Now you have to do the last leg. And on the last leg, you do the same exact thing. Do the setup part and then just work all the way around till you get to the last stitch. And then you're done. And all the knit stitches completely line up. You can see how the knit stitches completely line up and it looks beautiful. And then you have very little seaming to do and your knit stitches look beautiful together. The only thing you have to remember when you're doing Kitchener, you want it tight, snug, but not too snug. You want it about the same gauge as your actual knitting, and that's how it will look the best. So I hope that kind of helps you understand how you might Kitchener the trunk of your teddy bear to the legs. So you don't have to bind off. In the pattern, it tells you to bind off and then to seam your project. And that's an extra step that you don't need to do if you don't want. So, learning these little skills are phenomenal. And let's see, we have a winner. We have to do a couple of things. Sorry, I lost my paperwork here. Oh, yes. Okay.
What special day is it, remember? Next Sunday?
Yay! Mother's Day is coming up. That's right. And my birthday. My birthday is next Tuesday. So, anyway, we're very excited about that because it's also Evie, my granddaughter's birthday. She was born on my birthday last year, so that's totally fantastic.
Me too.
Yes. Oh, right. It's been more than a year. That's right. How time flies when you're having fun. So, anyway, I hope all of you out there have a great Mother's Day. And then the prize for this last week was these Knitter's Prize Dreams, and I chose the 32-inch number 6 for that. And let's see who the winner is. I didn't even get to see this. Jim chose it for me. So I'm looking here. And, oh, Paula Dixon. Yay! Paula, you won. Congratulations. All you have to do to go to customer service at Alpaca Direct and give us your address and we can get this in the mail to you. That's totally fantastic. And then don't forget, you guys, you need to vote for the Kabasi DK, and it's a bubblegum colorway or a bluebell colorway, which I thought were both cute little baby colors. And this will make really cute little baby hats or booties, or, you know, I don't know if you can get a sweater out of 2 skeins. Possibly, but maybe not. Just depends. So, but you could actually do doll stuff with it. So if you were doing the candy bear, you could do a ton of stuff with it. You'd have tons. So you guys vote and let me know what colorway we should send out next week. And then what am I working on? I don't know exactly what I'm working on this last week. I really have a couple things that I would love to do. One was a felted project, and the other one was a kind of like a shawl type thing from Jared Flood. So I'll be using one of those, unless I change my mind. I don't know. Anyway, so I hope you guys have a great week. You stay safe, and I will be talking to you on my birthday next Tuesday. So take care.